Good evening and welcome to the Mayor, councillors, staff and those watching this live stream. Good evening and welcome to the Mayor, councillors, staff and those watching this live stream of the Moira Shire Council meeting. I invite the Mayor to lead us in prayer.
Thank you, Claire. Almighty God, we humbly ask you to guide our deliberation for the welfare and the benefit of the Moira Shire and the people whom we serve. Amen. Acknowledgement to country. Where the Moira Shire Council would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on the land upon which we meet and pay respect to their elders both past and present. Thank you. Apologies and request a leave of absence. Any apologies? No, thank you. 5, declaration under the Act regulations of Code of Local Laws. Neil. 6, declaration of any interest or conflict of interest. Council, I have a conflict of interest in 10.44. Thank you. Okay, on Tuesday, the 14th December 2021, the Victorian Electoral Commission, VEC, has conducted a count back to fill the vacancy left by Kevin Burke. Judy Heather is a successful candidate. The VEC declared this result today, Wednesday, the 15th December 2021, and Councillor Judy Heather took the oath of the office in person today. I welcome Councillor Judy Heather to the Moira Shire Council. Welcome, Councillor Heather. Also would like to acknowledge our Andrew Close. This will be his last meeting. Andrew's been with us for quite a while now, and he started in September 2006 till August 2010. He did 4 years and project manager, infrastructure and planning. In July 2014, he became the current infrastructure manager. Now he's been with us for 7 years. Andrew, in total 11 years. Wow, that's a long time, but it was great to have you, Andrew. It's been a pleasure doing business with you the past 5 years. I really enjoyed your company, and I am sure that all the councils did exactly the same. Thank you, Andrew, for all the hard work you've done for us for the Moira Shire. Thanks, Andrew. Okay, councillor reports. Councillors, any reports? Oh, did I miss one? I did too. Sorry. Confirmation of minutes from previous meeting. Can I have a councillor move those minutes, please? Councillor Brooks, thank you.
That the minutes of the scheduled council meeting held on Wednesday, the 24th of November 2021, as prepared, be confirmed.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Did I have a councillor second that? Councillor Cox, all those in favour? Carried, thank you. Now we can go, apologise on that. Council reports. Any councillors to provide verbal reports, please? Councillor Mansfield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the last Saturday week, I attended a Christmas barbecue at the One U Recreation Reserve, where they presented the One U plan for the future. It was well attended. There was about probably 200 or 300 people there, and it was a great show. The Numurkah band was there, and Santa, so it went over very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mansfield. Any other council reports? Councillor Brooks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Monday, the 29th of November, I attended MHA Cares AGM meeting held at the Mulwala Golf Club. And I'm happy to report that MHA Care reported a small profit, which was an excellent achievement given the circumstances they had to trade last year. And on Thursday, the 25th of November, General Manager of Community Services, Sally Rice, and I attended Goulburn Valley Regional Library Corporation's board meeting in Shepparton, at which I was appointed the chair for the next 12 months. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Congratulations, Councillor Brooks. Any other council reports? Okay, Councillor Mansfield.
Thank you. Councillor Cox might we both attended the Baruga Sporties. I'll let Councillor Cox explain what happened.
Thank you, councillors. Councillor Cox would like to fill in.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Mansfield. Yeah, on your behalf too, Mr. Mayor, your apology. We're about a fortnight ago on a Friday over to the Baruga Sports Club there for the unveiling of their mini golf club, which was a significant amount of money from federal and state government. The day also had the Board of Commissioners from New South Wales, and Victoria. So, and this is,
Have a drink, councillor. Yeah.
right. Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Now, extremely well attended. We had the president of the sports club there and the CEO there, Glenn Brooks, and the president, Gary Hunt, here from the RACV set up here in Cobram. And Tony Tranter there with Cobram Burger Tourism has done a brilliant job for the area. Just done a brilliant job, and he's been a real asset to the whole area with his outlook and his get up and go in that area. And also welcomed on your behalf the CEO to the Berrigan Shire and to our part of the world. Even though we're this side of the border, Mr. Mayor, we had a good conversation, and the Mayor from the Berrigan Shire. But it was a really great day. But also, with all due respect to the Brugger Sports Club, Glenn did say, like, the tough time that they'd had in surviving COVID, like they put off 175 or 150 staff, beg your pardon, Mr. Mayor, and then to turn around and slowly get things back into action again. And it's taken time. It's been, and they're on the right path now, but it's going to be a great asset for not only for Brugger, but it's going to be a great asset for our region here. It's just another link in our tourism structure within our region. And it was absolutely brilliant, but not that I'm a golfer, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. And thanks to Councillor Mansfield. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. I used to play golf when I had a bit more time up my sleeve, Councillor Cox. So we'll have to start again one day. What do you think? Thank you. Any other councillor reports? Councillor Limbrick.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Friday, a week ago, I attended the Golden Valley Waste and Resource Management Group meeting. Quite a wide-ranging range of topics, but mainly focusing on the new recycling legislation and the challenges faced with landfill around our local area. The container deposit scheme. So there's a lot of work being done in relation to that, which is due for commencement in 2023. So there's a lot of work to be done with a new piece of legislation, and nobody really knowing how it works. One of our speakers was, in fact, a chap from Ken Dowley from New South Wales, who worked for Cleanaway for 16 years and was involved in the initiation of the container deposit scheme in New South Wales. So we had a lot of discussion about how that's worked and what the challenges have been. So I think we're entering into the Victorian system with a lot of knowledge coming from the back, which I think is going to be really, really interesting. There was a considerable discussion about the scheme that's initially designed only to cope with on-the-go drinks, if you like, takeaway drinks, but a lot of discussion about extending that to wine and spirit bottles for some reason. I'm not sure why that would be, but and things like milk containers and juice containers that are not on the go. So I think there's a lot of work to be done still, and a lot of guidelines still to come out with that. We had an address from Macedon Rangers about their 4-bin system. So they've gone to the purple bins in advance for glass. What I did gauge from that is that Moira Shire is way ahead of a lot of municipalities in relation to our green waste and the things that we're doing already. So the purple bins, if we go to that, or a glass only bin, will be interesting. But a lot of work that this council needs to do to determine what that service might look like. And I think I don't think there's a perfect answer. The Macedon Rangers have achieved a diversion of about 75% of all glass into their glass containers out of their normal bin service over the trial period of 2 years, which is a pretty significant change. So we did have a discussion about recycling and the circular economy and what we do with the waste after it's processed, and that again presents some challenges. We then had a joint meeting with the board of Golden Valley Waste Management and addresses from DOP, but mainly going over the same sorts of things: the recycling transition, Victoria transition, circular economy legislation, ensuring regional connection. So one of the concerns is that we lose with a restructure, that we lose our regional voice. And I think that's a strong push from the 4 councils to make sure that we do have a voice at state level. And I think that's it. But I think watch this space, because there'll be a lot more come out over the next 12 months.
Sure. Thank you, Councillor Limbrick. Any other council reports? Councillor Lawless.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was invited to attend a Many Mobs Christmas party in Mulwala by Iris Hill, who is trying to set up a First Nations front in Yarrawonga and really wants to actually set up a shop front maybe in the main street to let their community and the other people in the community understand some of the issues around our First Nations people. And I know Claire has been great support to them with her knowledge in this area. And I think it was a fantastic thing. It was a fantastic thing. Though I think that I'm not too sure how many people were there the other day. It was run in Mulwala, but I was really glad to be invited because I've had a little bit to do with Iris over times, and I hope that what they're trying to achieve that comes off. And I think they're all about trying to explain to people the services that are there to support them, and I think they also wanted to get to the stage where they can actually display their culture. I don't think it's been as strong of emphasis up this end of the Shire as what it has been down around Barmer. So I think it'll be a really great thing for Yarrawonga for us to be more informed of our past history.
Yeah.
The other Christmas party, and the only reason I mentioned this Christmas party was the staff Christmas party, which yourself and Claire went to, because I think we need to acknowledge that our staff had a particularly hard year for obvious reasons, and I was really glad to go along and be with them, and it was really good to see them get together. So I hope that we can move forward. Along with yourself and other councillors today, we attended the opening of the Burramine or the Byramine. I'm not too sure whether we've got a Burramine or Byramine
Trail.
Bike track, and Damien Drum was there and Tim McCurdy, and I think the Federals contributed $625 or something like that, and we put up the balance to do that. And there are other plans into the future of running an event there maybe early next year, and that will expose people. And that there was about a dozen or 15 children rode out from the P12 with a very responsible councillor's husband that was supervising, not councillor, but staff's husband that was supervising him. But they did a fantastic job because it's about 17 k's to there, and they rode out. They're going to ride back into Yarrawonga, then they're also going to ride over to the golf club. So it was great to see them out there and enjoying the day. After that, we went on to Damien wanted to have a look at the rooms in Tungamar that we have mainly contributed to, and we used $250 out of the drought funding, I think, to finish that project. And he was blown away with what we had achieved there. He didn't expect to see what we've achieved. So I think that was terrific. And he also informed us of some of the other things that he's working on. And certainly it's heartening to hear the pressure that he's putting on for funding for the stadium, and also with coming up with a decision on the bridge. And the last other thing, I'd just like to endorse your comments about welcoming our new councillor Heather to council, and I'd just like to endorse your comments and welcome her. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Lawless. Councillor Elliott, you're the only one left.
And I don't have any reports, I'm sorry.
Love it. Thank you, Councillor Elliott. And Councillor Lawless, most of those P12 kids that did ride out there towards end when we were having a discussion with them, they all wanted a lift back. They didn't want to ride back, by the way. Thank you. Okay, we'll go into a public question time this evening. Questions from the constituents will be read out and answered by our CEO, Claire Keenan. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A question: at the commencement of COVID, Council gave the former CEO power to negotiate the purchase of the former Yarrawonga Primary School site. Is this power ongoing or has it been rescinded? I'm not sure of the provenance of this information, and it is not correct. The minute from the council meeting of the 27th of November 2019 states and recommended to defer a decision on purchasing the site until the application to Heritage Victoria is resolved.
Thank you, Claire. No further questions. Thank you. 10 officers report for determination, 10.1 officer of the CEO, 10.11 councillor committee appointments. Could I have a councillor move that motion, please? Councillor Lawless, thank you.
The recommendation is that council, one, appoint a council representative to council audit risk committee, and I'm suggesting councillor Cox. And two, continue with the current appointments on the other committees and bodies as appointed in the November 2020 until the councillor vacancies have been filled.
Thank you, councillor. Could I have a councillor move that second that motion, please? Councillor Cox, did you second that motion? No? It's okay. Councillor Brooks, second the motion. Councillor Lawless, you wish to speak to that motion?
No, I think the only thing I would like to say was to thank councillor Cox for accepting a nomination.
Perfect. Councillor Brooks?
Nothing further. Thank you. Mr.
Any other
Mayor.
councillors wish to add to that motion? You wish to sum up, councillor Lawless? All done. Thank you. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. 10.12, report on notice of motion regarding grants to football and netball and soccer clubs. Could I have a councillor move that motion, please? Councillor, no, sorry, Councillor Elliott. I need to go to Councillor Mansfield on this one. Councillor Mansfield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll move that council supports all sports clubs and community groups in their recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic through additional promotion, encouraging the uptake of community recovery grants, quick response grants, or community strengthening grants. 2, provide additional support to those groups as necessary via considering increasing the available grants budget at the March quarterly budget review. And 3, investigate holding a series of volunteer recognition events and offer additional volunteer development opportunities.
Thank you, Councillor Mansfield. Could I have a councillor second that motion? Councillor Elliott. Councillor Mansfield, you wish to speak to it?
Yes, this follows on from a notice of motion that was put up a couple of months ago with the idea of looking after sports clubs and community groups who have done it tough over the last couple of years with no opportunity to raise money to run their organisations. I was at a function at One U a couple of weeks ago, and a small group like the Heritage Railway, the miniature railway, have had to pay up $8,000 in the last 2 years for their insurance, with no opportunity of getting that money from their activities. So this is an opportunity for us to consider groups like that and sporting clubs and other community groups to assist them in maintaining their viability and giving them the opportunity of getting some money from us, and also a lot of the volunteers that have put their heart and soul to a lot of these organisations at the end of their tether. So I think by this motion here, we can hopefully assist some of these people and keep all those volunteers and the community groups and sporting groups viable. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mansfield. Councillor Elliott.
Yeah, I endorse what Councillor Mansfield said. I do believe our volunteers are the very fabric of our sporting clubs, and with this support, hopefully will encourage them to continue the great work they do. It's probably pleasing to note that council has already provided COVID relief to the 14 football clubs, or netball clubs, sorry, within the Shire through waiving 2021 user fees to the total value of $45,000. The Shire is also home to an additional 31 other sporting clubs, as well as many other services and recreational clubs, which are also vulnerable to the impact of COVID. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Yep. Councillor Heather.
Yeah, I also like to endorse Councillor Mansfield's words. I just wanted to make sure that all groups are able to apply for this, and I have been assured of that. There are small groups like table tennis and other sporting activities like that that haven't had their user fees waived. They've had them reduced, or they've had some of it reduced anyway, and also some waived. But I just wanted to acknowledge places like the shows, those sort of committees. They also have done it tough because they have ongoing costs of huge insurance and also haven't been able to hold an event for some time. I think it's getting up to the 3rd year. So we must support them as well, because not everybody's into sport, but then shows can be partly sport and partly other things as well. So I'm just hope that we can support them as well. Thank you.
Councillor, any other? Councillor Limbrick.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I just think it's important too that we, as a council, use our resources to encourage and promote participation again in sports and community activities. One thing that we've seen during COVID is a lack of participation, simply because there's been uncertainty around what events are on and what's not on. And I know sporting clubs have been having trouble keeping people and kids engaged in particular. And I think it's really important that we use all of our resources to try and encourage those in our community that are active and able to get involved in whatever group they possibly can. I think it does the groups good, but it also does our community good. And I think that's a really important role that we can play without costing us any money. And I think we discussed it at the briefing the other day, but I think there's a real opportunity to try and have our groups get together and try and reduce some of the costs, like insurance, where we can have groups sitting underneath an auspicing facility where we can have one insurance policy covering, more than one organisation, because that is a major issue. And I think we'll find if we went across the Shire, we'd be paying significant amounts of money, a lot of it coming from council for insurance premiums for little groups like the railway that Councillor Mansfield mentioned. So I think we really need to spend some time having a look at that as an issue sooner rather than later.
Councillor Brick, any other councillors? Councillor Brooks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do support the motion of Councillor Mansfield, and I do acknowledge that in country towns, sporting organisations are often the beating heart of local communities. But I also just wanted to make the point that, many people suffered throughout COVID. A lot of people lost their livelihoods and their jobs. Kids couldn't go to school, and there are many people in our community who are isolated, and particularly people who live with a disability and aged and frail people. And they suffered even more than normal. So I just think as a council, it's important that we keep all groups front and centre in our minds when we're thinking about these things. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Any other councillor wish to speak to that motion? Councillor Mansfield, you wish to sum up?
No, I think everything's been said. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Mansfield. All those in favour of the motion? Carried. Thank you. 10.1.3 Numurkah Show substitute public holiday for the appointed Melbourne Cup Day holiday in 2022. Could I have a councillor move that motion, please? Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Move a motion that council, in accordance with Section 8A of the Public Holidays Act 1993, request the Minister for Small Business to declare a full-day public holiday within the Numurkah district as defined on the attached map on Wednesday, the 19th of October 2022 for the Numurkah Show as a substitute public holiday for the appointed Melbourne Cup holiday in 2022, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Could I have a councillor second that motion? Councillor Lawless. Councillor Cox, you wish to speak to that motion?
Yeah, just briefly, Mr. Mayor. Look, this has been in place now for quite a number of years now for the township of Numurkah, and their actual show committee fought hard to get this recognised for themselves down there for their midweek show, which is very hard to hold compared to a weekend. Which has been really very much appreciated by the Numurkah Show Committee. So yeah, so well done. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Councillor Lawless.
Mr. Mayor, I'm just really hoping that we can get some sort of normality by the time we get to October next year, and that they can actually have their show and the many other shows as councillors have mentioned, other activities. And yeah, it'd be just really terrific to get back and have that. And I think even if it was a public holiday, I think wasn't a public holiday, they'd all take the day off.
Correct. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Lawless. Any other councillor wish to speak to that motion? Councillor Cox, you wish to sum up?
Yeah, just briefly, Mr. Mayor, I forgot. One point is that many show societies in Victoria, they have received a grant from the Victorian state government, all COVID related. And in some shows, it's been quite substantial. I'm not going to name figures, but quite substantial to their future financial viability, which is very much appreciated in rural Victoria. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Mayor.
you, councillor Cox. All those in favour of the motion? Carried, thank you. 10.2 corporate, 10.21 Assembly of Council, November 2021. Can I have a councillor move that motion, please? Councillor Limbrick.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I recommend that council receive and note the record of assemblies of councillors for November 2021.
Thank you, councillor Limbrick. Can I have a councillor second that motion, please? Councillor Elliott. Councillor Limbrick, you wish to speak to it?
I don't think there's anything to say, really. It's pretty
No, it's
straightforward.
not. Well, we've still got to do it. Councillor Elliott, you got nothing to say either? All done? All those in favour? Carried, thank you. 10.22 complaint handling policy and complaint handling procedure. Could I have a councillor move that motion, please? Councillor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to recommend that council adopt the complaint handling policy and complaint handling procedure that have been reviewed in accordance with the requirements of the Local Government Act 2020.
Thank you, councillor Elliott. Could I have a councillor second that motion, please? Councillor Brooks. Thank you. Councillor Elliott, you wish to speak to it?
Just briefly, Mr. Mayor, the complaint handling policy and procedure has been reviewed and also supports council's commitment to providing quality customer service. It sets out the process so a complaint can be dealt with accordingly. Plus section 107 of the Local Government Act 2020 states that all councils develop and maintain a policy by following the steps provided by the Act.
Thank you, councillor Elliott. Councillor Brooks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's it's an important policy and procedure to have in any organisation. And as Councillor Elliott outlined, it does demonstrate the council's commitment to providing quality customer service. And I note that there are a number of KPIs included in the procedure, and there has also been a reduction in the number of days to acknowledge the complaint, which I think is a good thing. Thank you.
Councillor Brooks, yeah, councillor wish to speak to that motion? Councillor Elliott, you wish to sum up?
Oh,
All done?
yeah, the review of this policy still provides a handling procedure, ensuring we as a council maintain and possibly improve this service.
Thank you, councillor Elliott. All those in favour of this motion? Carried, thank you. 10.2.3 proposed discontinuance of section of unused roads within Lake Numurkah. Could I have a councillor move that motion, please? Councillor Lawless, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The recommendation is that Council 1A authorise the Chief Executive Officer to give public notice of a request for council to discontinue sections of unused road from the end of Saxon Street between Russell Street and Kinnards Road, Numurkah, as well as a section of unused Government Road to the north of the existing island within Lake Numurkah, and reserve the land for public use. And B, make possible proposal available for public inspection. C, invite submissions in accordance with section 223 of the Local Government Act 1989. D, receive submissions until 5 p.m. Wednesday, the 2nd of February 2022. And 2, if required, convene a committee of council comprising, and I'm suggesting the mayor and myself, and general manager community, and or delegate to meet at 1 p.m. Wednesday, the 9th of February 2020 at the council chambers, Melville Street, Numurkah, to hear any person wishing to be heard in support of their written submission. And B, to consider a recommendation regarding the road discontinuance with or without amendment at the 23rd of February 2020 ordinary council meeting.
Thank you, councillor Lawless. Could I have a councillor second that motion, please? Councillor Limbrick. Thank you. Councillor Lawless, you wish to speak to it?
Look, I think this is pretty straightforward. I think it just needs to be something that needs to be tidied up in that area, and I haven't really got any more to say to it.
Thank you, councillor Lawless. Councillor Limbrick.
Mr. Mayor, just the council previously resolved to close these sections of road as part of the Lake Numurkah concept plan some time ago. But the final process of actually taking the roads out has never been completed. So it's really a procedural thing to follow up on a previous motion, and it makes perfect sense in view of what we're planning for the lake.
Thank you, Councillor Limbrick. Any other councillor wish to speak to that motion? Councillor Lawless, I'm assuming you've said enough. All those in favour of the motion? Carried, thank you. 10.3, 10.3.1 Community Strengthening Grants Program, Round 1, 2021. Can I have a councillor move that motion, please? Councillor Lawless.
The recommendation that the council approve 12 projects totaling $77,522 as part of the 2021 Community Strengthening Grants Program.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I have a councillor second that motion, please? Councillor Elliott. Thank you. Councillor Lawless.
This is a terrific program, and we received 21 applications, and it was really good to read through the notes that some of those applications, whilst they weren't included in what we paid out, they were actually referred to other bodies where funding might have been available, and given advice on what steps they should take to perhaps, if they fall within our criteria of funding, that the next time they apply that they will be recommended. But so there was 12 recommended, and it was great to see the spread. Like there was Cobram Baruga Canoe Club, Numurkah Hall, Wilby District Hall, and there's a couple in there that I think are significant. The St James and District Community Plan, I think there was $10,000, Alec, if I'm right, contributed to that, and also the Waiai Community Plan. And it's great to see that those communities have got together and we've acknowledged their efforts and putting some money in, because we're seeing some really exciting things happen in our smaller communities, and it's great that we're supporting them. There was also money allocated to Strathmerton Football Netball Club, the Tungamar Kickstart Committee, which is another one of those committees that's sort of got going through a community plan, and they're doing really exciting things there, and the Yarrawonga Bowls Club. So there was a few others, but they're the main things. It was good to see that being spread around the Shire.
Thank you, Councillor Lawless. Councillor Elliott.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to reiterate Councillor Lawless's comments there that 12 projects out of the 21 applications received were recommended through the grants program. All the applications were assessed in accordance with council meeting its strategic objective plan, with the council plan of having a welcoming and inclusive place. Thank you.
Councillor Elliott. Any other councillors wish to add to that motion? Councillor Limbrick.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I think the other thing to note is that the diverse range of applicants and the projects are not all sporting, and they're not all, they range from all sorts of things, from structural improvements to buildings to solar installations to improvements to picnic grounds and basketball rings installations. And I think that's a testament to the process that we've got a huge range of groups that are applying for funding through this program, and I think that's really, really encouraging.
Thank you, Councillor Limbrick. Any other councillors wish to speak to that motion? Councillor Lawless, you wish to sum up? All those in favour of the motion? Carried, thank you. 10.3.2 Contract C013/21 Supply and Delivery and Finance of One Track Loader. Could I have a councillor move that motion, please? Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move a motion that item 1, award contract CO13-21, supply and delivery and finance of one track loader to GD and MA Boardigan Proprietary Limited. 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer to sign and seal the contract documents, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. Could I have a councillor second that motion, please? Councillor Lawless. Councillor Cox, you wish to speak to that loader? Councillor Lawless, you wish to speak to that track loader?
I'm just hoping it's not a one track loader, because we had five tenders to this submission, and it was based around a lease and maintenance agreement over 5 years. And this successful tender is within Moira, and they provide our current maintenance provider, and they provided a longer warranty, and they locate, as I said, they're located in Moira. But I think there was some discussion about the availability of some of the machinery that we might sign up to, But they have agreed to leases a loader in the meantime, whilst if there is a hold up with delivery.
Any other council wish to speak to that motion? Councillor Cox. All those in favour of the motion? Carried, thank you. 10.4 infrastructure, 10.4.1 Numurkah flood mitigation scheme. Could I have a councillor move that motion, please? Councillor Lawless.
The recommendation that council supports the state government application to the federal government's National Flood Mitigation Infrastructure Program for funding for stage 1 of the Numurkah flood mitigation project, and 2, commits to delivering the project on behalf of the state government, and 3, appoints, and I'm suggesting Councillor Limerick to chair the Numurkah Flood Mitigation Project Steering Committee.
Thank you. Could I have a councillor second that motion? Councillor Cox, Councillor Lawless, you wish to speak to it?
I know others that have got more knowledge in this area will speak to this, but I think it's really important having a chairman of the flood mitigation project so that so the people of Numurkah can be kept informed. I'm sure that many of them are really assured that we're going in the right direction, and this really formalises our involvement. And I'm sort of hearing some pretty exciting stuff, and I'm sure that I know the previous councillors have been very frustrated that this has taken so long, but I think we're starting to get some traction, and but it's really important that we keep the community informed of where we're to.
Thank you, Councillor Lawless. Councillor Cox, wish to add to that?
Yes, briefly, Mr. Mayor. In support of this motion and what Councillor Lawless has just said, this has taken since 2012, I think, the flood event, and here we are basically nearly a decade later. So flood waters move very slow, Mr. Mayor, but federal and state governments move pretty slow too. But it's critically important that as a shire that we tick all the right boxes here so that when the funding becomes available, we're basically, pardon the pun, Mr. Mayor, but shovel ready to put up the bank to save Numurkah for the future. And it's a project that's going to require significant investment from the shire, as well as relying on state and federal government money to turn around and bring this project home. Initially, this is only stage 1. There's still further work to be done here, but it is critical, I think, for the future of the township of Numurkah that we start on this process now to actually apply for funding and commit this council and future councils to see this project gets done. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well said, Councillor Cox. Yeah, the Councillor Limbrick. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just a bit of background, I think the Australian government are providing 50 million towards national flood mitigation priorities in 2021 from Emergency Response Fund, and state governments have been asked to submit projects for consideration of funding under this scheme. I think it's really important for projects like this that, as Councillor Cox said, been 10 years in the making, that we take advantage of whatever funding sources we can. And we have basically a shovel-ready project in the northern side of the levee. There's still a lot of work to be done. We've just recently received the flood modelling from the consultant, so looking forward to getting that out to the community for their consideration fairly shortly. And as I accept Councillor Lawless's nomination as the chair, and I think it's really important that we push this forward because it has been a long, drawn-out process, and I think the people of Numurkah are looking for some real action, and I think it's time that we took that.
Thank you, and well accepted, Councillor Limbrick. Any of the council wish to speak to that motion? Councillor Lawless, you wish to sum up?
No, I need to thank Councillor Limerick for taking on the role, but I think we should acknowledge the terrific amount of work that our previous councillor Kevin Burke put in on that committee, and it's an enormous amount of work. And look, and there was a lot of toing and froing, as people in the Numurkah community would know. And I think we've got a perfect leader in Councillor Limerick to take us to the next step.
Well stated, Councillor Lawless. Councillors, all those in favour of that motion? Carried, thank you. 10.4.2 contract C030/21 reconstruction of Velt and McDonald Street, Nathalia. Could I have a councillor move that motion, please? Councillor Limbrick.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. The recommendation is that Council 1 award the contract for C030-21 reconstruction of Velt and McDonald Street, Nathalia to Tactile Australia Proprietary Limited, trading as One Stop Civil. 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer to sign and seal the contract documents. 3, assign Tactile Australia Proprietary Limited, trading as One Stop Civil as the principal contractor for undertaking the project.
Thank you, councillor. Could I have a councillor second that motion, please? Councillor Cox. Councillor Limbrick, you wish to speak to it?
Just briefly, Mr Mayor, the ongoing work that's been done in Nathalia are certainly much appreciated by the community, I know, and we've seen significant reconstruction of 3 or 4 streets in the same vicinity. So parts of McDonald Street and Hawker Street and Federation Street have been done, and this is just a continuation of that western side of the main street. The next step will be Harcourt, and then that whole corner of the town will basically have had its drainage and curb and channel and roads reconstructed. And I think it's something that we need. We're doing it all over the Shire, and I think it's important that the smaller communities and some of these legacy issues that have been hanging around for many, many years that are gradually being tidied up as we can afford them, and it's certainly making a significant difference in Nathalia in particular at the moment, where we had significant flooding issues on that western corner, now working very, very well.
Thank you, councillor Limbrick. Councillor Cox. Any other councillors wish to speak to that motion? Councillor Limbrick, you wish to sum up?
No, I think I've said it all. Thanks.
Councillor Lawless, I can't go back now. Did you have your hand up? Did you? No? All those in favour of that motion? Carried. Thank you. 10.4.3 contract C029/21 maintenance grading panel. Can I have a councillor move that motion, please? Councillor Cox, thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Motion that council award the schedule of rates contract to the following tenderers under panel contract CO29-21 maintenance grading for the initial term of 1 year and the option to extend in a single year periods to a maximum contract period of 3 years. NGH Earth Moving, SP and LA O'Brien Proprietary Limited, Lawrence Brothers Quarries Proprietary Limited, and O'Loughlin Excavations Proprietary Limited. Authorise the Chief Executive Officer to sign and seal the contract documents and approve contract extensions with the provisions of the contract. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, councillor Cox. I'll have a councillor second that motion. Councillor Lawless. Councillor Cox, you wish to
I'll
speak to it?
reserve my right, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Lawless, you wish to speak to it?
No, I haven't got too much to say about it. It really is endorsing the people that we've previously had on the panel, and there are some when they tender, they've put up some different figures, and it's good to see that the panel that does the assessment within the Shire has come up with the recommendations for these people, and some of them are within the Shire, and I think we should accept the recommendation.
Thank you, councillor Lawless. Any other councillor wish to speak to that motion? Councillor Cox, done. All those in favour of the motion? Carried. Thank you. 10.44, I have a conflict of interest, so I'll vacate the chair for councillor Lawless to take the chair. Thank you.
Uh, 10.4.4 Planning Scheme Amendment C93E. Do we have a mover? Councillor Cox.
Thank you, Mr Chairperson. That Council 1, note the receipt of 13 submissions to Amendment C93. Item 2, request the Minister for Planning to appoint an independent planning panel to consider all submissions. 3, refer all submissions to an independent planning panel. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Mansfield. Councillor Cox.
Thank you. Look, just to, this is another significant step across our Shire, Mr Mayor, with C93. It just does not affect Cobham. It affects other towns, Jamaica and Yarrawonga, at the top of my head. And And to go to an independent planning panel, it's still got to come back before this council to finally tick off or to question anything that comes out of this report or recommendation from the planning panel. I just want to reassure my colleague councillors that this process has still got a long way to go yet. So that's all I'll say at this stage. Thank you, Mr. Acting Chairperson.
Thank you. Councillor Mansfield.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Further on for Councillor Cox, this is a procedural matter, and also it allows us to be at arm's length from any submissions regarding the amendment C93, like right across the Shire, and it will allow a lot of people to make submissions to the planning panel, and they will consider them, and they're a complete independent planning panel, and hopefully which will satisfy the people to making submissions, and also allow the planning panel to consider their submissions. Thank you.
Any other councillors? Councillor Limerick.
Yeah, I'll speak in favour of the motion, but and I have expressed in the past some concerns about the process, and I satisfied after discussions with the staff. Some of my concerns are about limitations imposed by the mayor's conflict of interest in relation to one part of this motion. I'm satisfied that we can deal with that. There's been significant changes in the economy and the community, and we're adopting documents that are 3 and 4 years old. And I think I understand there's a process, but I am concerned that we will have to have a chance to get back and update some of that information. I think there's a significant need for the council to look at future planning and have a real vision. And I think we're at that point where we've seen so much change in the last 2 years due to COVID and other circumstances that we really do need to be on top of where our Shire is going to be in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, because I think we're seeing exponential growth and opportunity and some potential threats. I think if we don't really spend some time on planning, and I think ultimately, as council, based on the advice that the council will ultimately make the decision and have the right to review the planning panel's information. And I think that's some of the concerns that I expressed previously, that we wouldn't be driven to adopt the recommendations that we do ultimately have the final say is what's important for our council.
Thank you, Councillor Limerick. Anybody else? Councillor Elliott.
Yeah, just briefly, Deputy Mayor. Look, I just wanted to say that I also had a pretty good read of 10.4.4, and that 13 submissions to the amendment C93 were received. Also agree with Councillor Limbrick that our 4 towns over the coming years will need, some pretty serious looking at for the infrastructure to keep up with the population of the Yarrawonga and Cobram in particular, but and so the independent panel has got a pretty tough job ahead of them, I feel. But yeah, and I'm also glad that the submission will come back to the council for a final review. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Councillor Elliott. Anyone else make a comment? Councillor Cox, would you like to sum up?
Briefly, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to acknowledge the 13 people or organisations put in submissions, and thank them for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cox. All those in favour? It's carried. Call the Mayor back in.
Thank you, Councillor Lawless. 11, Actions Officers List, Neil. 12, Notice of Motion, Neil. 13, Petition and Joint Letters. 13.1, the future of the former Yarrawonga Primary School site petition. Could I have a councillor move that motion, please? Councillor Mansfield.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll move that council, one, acknowledge the petition received regarding the former primary school site in Yarrawonga and continue to investigate the available option and report to a council briefing in February 2022. Two, thank the signatories of the petition and advise the first mentioned author of the petition of council's findings.
Thank you, Councillor Mansfield. Councillor Elliott, did you have your hand up for a second? You did. Councillor Mansfield, you wish to speak to it?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This follows on from a petition that I presented last month. I've also got an extension to that Mark II, another 150 signatures, which unfortunately I left at home, and I will hand in to the council to add to the original petition. This follows on from a public meeting held on the site last month and well attended, and both Councillor Elliott and myself were there, and the overwhelming support for council to continue negotiations and hopefully get the site for community use. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mansfield. Councillor Elliott, you wish to speak to that motion?
Yes, Mr Mayor. I just want to endorse Councillor Mansfield's comments and just want to add that given the significance of the primary school site, I'm glad council will honour its commitment to apply for a grant to conduct an urban renewal study to ensure the best possible use for the land, or for the site, I should say, and this will involve extensive consultation with all relevant stakeholders and for the use of this significant parcel of land. Council is also aware that the Bangarang people have contacted the DET regarding the cultural significance of this site and their claim to the site, which may possibly raise other possibilities for the use of that site.
Thank you, Councillor Elliott. Any other councillor wish to speak to that motion? Councillor Mansfield, looks like you wish to sum up.
No, everything's been said. Thank you, Mr
Thank
Mayor.
you, Councillor Mansfield. All in favour of the motion? Thank you. Carried. Okay, Councillor Seal, Neil, now into urgent general business, as we've informed at our last meeting that we need 4 hours to actually put up any urgent general business. There was none put up 4 hours in advance. We'll move on from that one. Thank you, councillors. This now concludes our open council meeting. For those watching via live stream, thank you for viewing this meeting. We're also available to watch via councillor website. On behalf of council, I would like to wish all our community a very safe and Merry Christmas. And I hope you all get to share some time with your loved ones and in what has been another hard year, and we live through this pandemic. And Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you.